There is no better example of what it means to be in a cult than this wonderful story from LGBTQNation.com, which reads, anti-trans troll Matt Walsh says black mermaids aren't scientific in on-air meltdown. You're in a cult. First of all, a Matt Walsh meltdown. Have you ever listened to this man? Matt, you are very dry. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean, he's a very stern, dry presentation, a very matter of fact, and it's actually an excellent delivery on a lot of the funnier points. It's a good delivery. But meltdown, I would not. Matt melting down is him going like, like that. That's the extent that you'll get. I love this. Let me explain to you why this is the cult. Matt Walsh made a point about the race of actress playing the Little Mermaid. And I 100% agree with the point he made that I don't care if a person of different races is playing a character that was traditionally a certain race. It's the double standard. And that is to say, when you race swap a white character by having a black actress play it, that in and of itself, who cares? But when it only ever goes in that direction, and it would be offensive to have a white actor play a black character, then people are like, hey, we've got a double standard here. That's not okay. And so that's basically his point. It's like, look, if we were all in agreement that anyone of any race is playing any character, then I'm fine with it. And so I agree. I will also point out that Avatar, the Last Airbender film, cast white people to play Inuits. I think that's also, I think that's actually stupider than this. Mermaids aren't real. And the characters of, it was, I think, Sokka. It's played by a white dude. I mostly don't care. I'm like, actors can play whoever they want, dude. It's make-believe. Like, there's no waterbending tribe. But in this, it was supposed to be like like Inuit. And so in that, I'd say it's a little sillier. But ultimately, I am of the opinion, I don't care. Anybody can play anybody. So Matt Walsh says, as kind of a somewhat facetious way, that it wouldn't even make sense. Like a mermaid would be extremely pale. Have you ever seen these deep sea fish? Their skin is like translucent. And he's right. Light doesn't penetrate that deep into the ocean. So their skin is translucent. There's no melanin. And this is what you get. There are a spattering of stories running this headline, which is just insanely fake. Insanely fake. On-air meltdown. No, he didn't have a meltdown. He was being literal. He was making a gag. Newsweek. Matt Walsh slammed for saying Black Little Mermaid isn't scientific. Okay. Y'all are insane, all right? Y'all have lost the plot, and this is a cult. And now what they're doing is they're running tweets. They're morphing the story into Matt Walsh makes joke about a mermaid actually being how a mermaid would be actually translucent, not even white. They twist it into saying it's anti-black. And now they're running the story. That's the headline. Let me break it down for you one more time. Matt Walsh said a mermaid would actually have translucent skin. And they're like, you just don't like black people. You're in a cult. They're not giving you the real information. The real information is that right now, the Little Mermaid trailer on Disney has like 2 million thumbs down. You need a special app to be able to see it. Why are people upset with it? Well, it is true. And a lot of people are hitting me up like, Tim, we really are mad about the race swapping. I know you are. But people need to understand that there are even leftists complaining about this. The narrative that this is only just a bunch of racists ragging on the trailer is wrong. First of all, a lot of people who are ragging on the race swapping aren't racist. That's silly. Some racists absolutely are, of course. But there are many people complaining the trailer is trash. A lot of people are pointing out, doesn't even look like she's underwater. Look at Aquaman, how his hair is moving and there's like texture in the water. And they're like the Little Mermaid, which is literally about a mermaid underwater the whole time. I mean, she comes out on land. I get that. They're like, they couldn't even do good CGI. And so you even had leftists and like normies being like, trailer's bad. But the narrative has to be that the only reason people don't like it is because they are racists. All right. Let me show you this. With that being said, I saw this story from The Guardian. Little Mermaid star Halle Bailey in awe at response to trailer. Bailey, the lead in Disney's new live-action version, has responded to tweets engaging with black girls seeing her in the film's trailer. You see, they run these stories. She's in awe at the response. In a bad way? Like, the trailer's response is overwhelmingly negative across the board. I think Halle Bailey is lovely. I think she's a tremendous singer. She's a beautiful actress, and I honestly don't care that she's playing the role of Ariel. I will say, I find it very weird that they dyed her hair red. Like, dude, if you're going to have a black actress play a character that was white, why make the black actress's hair look like the white girl's hair? You see, that's just the stupidest thing about this whole thing. It's just so dumb. They're like, we will have the black actress, but she has to look more white. And then people are like, Tim, black people can have red hair. And I'm like, that's not the point. They're dyeing her hair to make it look like the original white character. I understand that there are people who are black who have red and blondish hair. It's true. And blue eyes. Why didn't they make her eyes blue? The original character is white, redhead, blue eyes. So they say, we'll have a black actress play her, but we better make her look like the white character. It's all hypocrisy. None of it makes sense. Nobody's standing on virtue. They're standing in a spiral of psychosis to say nonsense like this. Here we go. I'm going to read for you what they said, and then I'm going to show you what Matt Walsh actually said. Daily Wire host and columnist Matt Walsh has upped his profile as a notorious anti-LGBTQ troll in recent months, targeting trans people. Now he's diving into the racist backlash against the Disney live-action remake of Little Mermaid. And his argument against casting a black actor in the film's lead role is truly wild. He claims that it's scientific for mermaids to be white. No, he didn't. He claimed it's scientific for mermaids to have translucent skin. They're lying. It's amazing because they put the video in this and they still expect you not to actually watch what Matt said. Amazing. I got an email from the Washington Post. They're following up. They're like, we have a list of people who think Biden didn't win the election fairly. And one of those people is you. And I was like, are you kidding me? When did I ever say he didn't win fairly? And they're like, we understand you think Biden won. And then they're like, can you point us to where in your podcast you've claimed that Joe Biden won the election? Now, anybody who watches my videos, who watches my show, is probably laughing and rolling your eyes because so many of the people who do agree with Trump will rag on me and tell me I'm wrong. And now I have the media telling me I agree with you. It's amazing, isn't it? You see, I said to them, maybe if you actually do the legwork and watch the show to see what I've said about this, you'll understand. And like, but you have tweets saying there's fraud. And I'm like, Bill Barr said there was fraud. It just didn't, there wasn't fraud that proved the election was stolen or anything like that. To put it simply, how am I talking? I think Joe Biden won. It's plain and simple. And I've always maintained that. I got made fun of by the left. They made a mockery video of me saying Trump was going to win. I thought Trump was going to win. And then me going, Biden won. How can you simultaneously have all of these things? They don't actually watch my show. They don't know my opinions. They just make it up, like they're doing with Matt Walsh. I digress. In a recent episode of the Matt Walsh Show, the far-right commentator argued that it is unscientific for Halle Bailey to play the beloved mermaid. He says, also, by the way, the Little Mermaid, can we just mention that from a scientific perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have someone with darker skin who lives deep in the ocean. I mean, if anything, not only should the Little Mermaid be pale, she should actually be translucent. If you look at deep sea creatures, they're like translucent. They have no kind of pigmentation whatsoever. And they're just like these horrifying, these skeletons floating around the ocean. I should play it.
All right, Max Winter says, a black actor playing the Little Mermaid really is a case of white erasure. All forms of art, including fairy tales, are meant to be reflections of the author's experiences and observations. Hans Christian Andersen probably based the Little Mermaid based on experiences he went through in his home country of Denmark. So it makes sense that most of his characters would be white, since that's the world and the people he was surrounded by. Yeah, I'm given the way that we deal with these sorts of issues, I'm sympathetic to that. Now, I would be fine, like we talked about yesterday. We don't have to rehash the entire thing. But if we all agreed that race in films and TV shows, especially fictional stories, don't matter, and we're going to take a kind of colorblind casting approach, and it doesn't matter as long as the actor is good. If we could all agree on that, then I'd be on board. And as I said, that's basically what it was for many years, what it was back in the 90s. But what I cannot abide by is the double standard thing where we say, well, casting, the race in casting matters only for certain races and not for others. No, we're not doing that.
Oh, here we go.
Also, by the way, with The Little Mermaid, can we also just mention that just from a scientific perspective, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have someone with darker skin who lives deep in the ocean. I mean, if anything, not only should the Little Mermaid be pale, she should actually be translucent. If you look at deep sea creatures, they're like translucent. They have no kind of pigmentation whatsoever. And they're just like these horrifying, they look like skeletons floating around in the ocean. That's what the Little Mermaid should look like. She should be totally pale and skeletal, where you can see her skull through her face. And that would actually be a version of Little Mermaid that I would watch.
Bravo! I completely agree. I made the joke the other day that the Little Mermaid should be singing, because, she's like, ah, and then Prince Eric hears it, and she should swim to the surface and see him, and then I'm imagining he walks to the water, and then he looks down as he hears this beautiful singing, and then he sees this beautiful face emerging, and then as it gets closer to the surface, it becomes more skeletal and disfigured, and goes, ah, and then grabs him and pulls him in, and then just drags him down to the depths to die an agonizing death. That's what I want to watch. I love how they're these horrifying, they look like skeletons floating around in the ocean. That's what the Little Mermaid should look like. She should be totally pale and skeletal, where you can see her skull through her face. Brilliant, good sir. And they claimed that was racist. And the funny thing is, of the creepy weirdos who are like, Matt Walsh is racist, he thinks black people can't be mermaids. Someone was like, Matt Walsh wants to see a skin skeleton mermaid like some weird neckbeard basement dwelling. Dude, that's a horror movie. That would be so amazing. And it should be like The Little Mermaid. And, it's funny because mermaids aren't inherently murderous. Sirens would sing a song and lure sailors to their deaths. And that was like Greek mythology. And then mermaids were something different. But they're basically the same thing, especially with Ariel singing. Dude, she is a siren luring these people to an untimely death. So it would be hilarious if, from the surface looking down, you see just like this blurry image of what looks like a pretty face. And then as it gets closer, it's like a skeletal with sharp teeth. And pulls her in. You know that scene from Lord of the Rings where Bilbo is like, might I just see my ring for one? And then he lunges at it. That's what I'm talking about. But the Little Mermaid, that would be legit. Here's what they say. Setting aside how truly absurd it is to argue for a scientifically accurate depiction of a mythological half-fish person, several Twitter users have noted various deep-sea fish and aquatic mammals that have dark skin. Here we go. This is a dragonfish. They live in the ocean at depths down to 2,000 meters. Anybody notice what color it is? It's black. Jet black, actually. Matt Walsh saying that the Little Mermaid should have translucent skin being called racist is one of the most insane, cultish, psychotic things. Bro was making a non-point. Look at this. And Media Matters is running this story. It's amazing. Look at this. David French responded. An actual argument for mermaid science to keep Ariel white. Is this peer-reviewed? He said to keep her translucent. Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. He says, hi, David French. Did you actually listen to the whole clip and hear the part where I advocate for translucent skeletal mermaids and really come to the conclusion that I was being serious and wanted white people? And he goes, or do you just know better, but you're jumping in with the leftist dog pile just out of habit? Matt Walsh did not advocate for white mermaids. That's what David French said. Keep Ariel white. What? Wait, what? Amazing. Matt Walsh, he goes on to say, I won't apologize for advocating for the rights of the translucent. My work as an equity activist often leads to pushback, but I am never dissuaded. This community needs more visibility, especially because you can hardly see them even when they're standing in front of you. Slow clap, Matt. Slow clap. Look at this. The Little Mermaid star Halle Bailey in awe at response to trailer. Here's another one. Deadline. Halle Bailey is truly in awe as black girls react to the Little Mermaid teaser. And then we have this. Racists are worried about the historical accuracy of mermaids. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. There we go. You're in a cult. And I'll tell you why. Okay? The response is negative. It's not just about race swapping. Many people on the left have actually called out the red hair. Many people have called out the terrible CGI. For instance, here in this image, people have pointed out, it doesn't look like she's underwater. You'll need that contrast for when she comes out of the water. They didn't like it. I don't care all that much about the CGI. I do take issue with them dyeing her hair red because it's like, Dude, if you want Ariel to be a little white redheaded girl, then cast a little white redheaded girl. If you want to cast a black actress, let the black actress be Ariel. It's this half measure where the left is like, it's fine that she's black. And then I'm like, aren't you concerned then, if that's your position, that they tried to make her look like the white girl? Yo, Halle Bailey has black hair. She's allowed to have black hair. It looks lovely. I don't understand this double standard either. Because all it really is about is being in the cult. It's about just say we're right, nothing else matters. Their own logic doesn't make sense. I'm gonna give a shout out. I want to nail this cult thing right here. Here we go from the Wrap. Nate Silver marvels that libs can't even permit Trump to have one good day after al-Baghdadi killing. The perfect example. Donald Trump took out the leader of ISIS, and they were like an austere scholar. They could not give Trump one good day. It's a cult. It's a cult, man. How hard is it for them to say it? Yesterday, in my main segment, I said I applaud Joe Biden. I encourage him to get this deal done. We don't want a recession. I'm not like Bill Maher. I won't call for a recession and economic devastation just if it means getting rid of Joe Biden because it means suffering for regular people. I don't play that game. I hope that Joe Biden can solve the rail strike problem to prevent economic crises. Daily Mail reports Biden caves to rail unions to avoid catastrophic strike and hands out immediate $11,000 bonus and a 24% wage increase. He caved. That's right. Joe Biden did. And I applaud him for it. I think the Democrats are nuts. I think the weaponization of the DOJ is insane. I think all of that is bad. But I'm not a psychopath. The rail strike would be bad for the rail workers union. It would be bad for us. And we needed, whoever it was, Biden or otherwise, to solve this problem. I wouldn't vote for the guy. But I can give him credit. I can give AOC credit when she calls for an investigation into the cops who opened the doors on January 6th. I have no problem giving them their good days when they deserve it. We need to. As I always say, and this ain't new, if there is someone I don't like, but they do something good, I will give them respect and praise. Because if you don't encourage the good behavior, you will not make them come to that point. And I'll give a shout out to Joey Salads. And I'll explain my thoughts on this ultimately. I'm in Sweden. I see Joey Salads tweet at me. I get mad. I smack talk him because he made a fake video and it was really bad. It's just, it's ancient history. But he made fake videos. They were racist, or they were accused of being, long story short. And then I thought about it and people were like, you're wrong. You shouldn't be mean. And then I was like, you're right. I shouldn't be. Here's Joey trying to apologize and trying to turn over a new leaf, and I'm shoving him aside. If we do that, the only direction he could go is in the wrong direction. So I said, I was wrong. I should not have said that. I should welcome him over and say, promise you won't do it again. Welcome to the party, brother. Thank you for apologizing. If we don't tell people we appreciate the good things they do, they can only go in the bad direction. Joe Biden here is doing something good. The workers are getting more money. They're getting a bonus and a wage increase. We're going to avoid a strike. I got no problem giving Joe Biden credit for working on this. Biden ain't all with it. I got to be honest. But his administration and the White House were working to solve this problem. I can respect it. Because I'm not in a cult. I just don't like Joe Biden for legitimate reasons. The FBI has been rampaging over the past week, targeting Trump allies, and it's nightmarish. I entertained the Russiagate hoax because I was like, let's be trusting. And then the Ukrainegate hoax, I investigated. They lied. But these people on the left, they will run insane fake stories like this. Matt Walsh, meltdown. Matt Walsh wants Ariel to be white. Dude literally said translucent skeletal mermaids floating around. And he wasn't even being serious. It was a gag. And they run with it because they're a cult. And it doesn't matter. Now, here's what I love. Media Matters. Here you go. What is Media Matters? NewsGuard says 80 out of 100. Media Matters is off the rails. Okay? They make stuff. It's weird conspiracy nonsense. Here's what they write. Daily Wire host says that it's unscientific to cast a black person as a mermaid. Do they go? Look what they did. It's remarkable how they frame things, and it's considered to be factual. Good job, NewsGuard. Good job. It's responsible to say this. You think it's responsible not to give people the full context? Yeah, NewsGuard, you're trash. All right, garbage. They gave us at Timcast a good score, but it took them a month to actually get all the corrections through with all the lies and garbage they espoused. Media Matters. They will tell you. They'll run these articles. Halle Bailey in awe at response to trailer. Maybe she really is. But it's this puff piece at a time when people overwhelmingly don't like the trailer. They tell you that racists are review bombing the movie or sexists are review bombing the movie when it comes to like Captain Marvel. And I'm like, dude, the movie was just bad. Captain Marvel was not good. It was blah. I wouldn't give it a 0. I'd give it like a 30. And when we came out and said the movie was bad and the character was bad and the actress was bad, they said it was just sexism. And I'm like, no, Captain Marvel should have been played by Robin Wright. She should have been older. She's more commanding and a better actress and just all around better. Brie Larson, I think she's fantastic in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Awesome. I love her version of Black Sheep by Metric. But you can't, everything has to be about racism and sexism. It's amazing. That's all they have. I saw a meme today on Facebook because I love the Facebook memes. And it said something like, when people say woke, it's really just because they can't say the N-word. And I'm like, welcome to modern politics. I have no argument against your position, so you're racist. Okay. Whatever, man. Don't fix your dumb movie. They're all trash, though. I got to be honest. I saw Aladdin, the live action, and it was amazing how bad it was. And I was just like, why don't they just make it shot-for-shot remakes of the classic movies because people really liked them. Pinocchio's coming out. It looks terrible. It really does just look bad. The Little Mermaid also looks bad. I get a lot of people, they wanted to see Ariel come to life. I think Jodie Benson was the name of the actress who voiced Ariel. People wanted to see it. They wanted to see a character they grew up with come to life. Instead, they got a black actress with red dyed hair. And it doesn't, to these people, feel like it's representing the character. It's not about racism. It's about, this is Ariel. We want to see Ariel in real life. This is not Ariel in real life. They call it racist because they have nothing else. Dude, I know the argument people make. They're like, little black girls didn't have a princess to look up to. Hey, you know what? I agree. That sucks. Let's make some. For real. There's the Frog Princess or whatever it was. I don't watch Disney movies, so I don't know. But I say, like, yeah, you've got Mulan, and why don't we make more princesses of varying races? I'm down with that. And then let people keep Ariel as Ariel appears, instead of casting a young black woman and dyeing her hair red. It's so ridiculous. I ultimately don't care about the race stuff. Like Matt Walsh was saying, who cares, man? People were mad that Idris Elba played Heimdall because Heimdall's like a Norse god and he's white, I guess. But I'm like, dude, Idris Elba's actually really great. He's a big masculine dude. Like, he fits the role. Like, thought he was good. People were mad that he might have become James Bond. And then other people were like, he's literally British. He's a British man. Yeah, dude, I would actually love to see Idris Elba as James Bond. I think he'd be really good. I think he's fantastic. I'm a big fan of his work. I think he's a great, when he plays villains. I think he was in Hobbs and Shaw. I love the Fast and the Furious, by the way. Now they got people with superpowers. I want to see, here's what we got to do. So they did Hobbs and Shaw, which is the Fast and the Furious universe. And Idris Elba is a cybernetically enhanced super soldier. Awesome. And then what they should do is, and then they did Fast and Furious 9, I think. 9. They go to outer space. Amazing. Yo, don't stop now. I'm not even kidding, bro. The next Fast and the Furious movie, it should be like Dom. They like walk up and they're like, yo, Dom, we got an experimental new electric car. It runs on fusion power. And then he's going to be like, I can drag race this. And then the crew are like racing alongside. But then there's like a malfunction and the engine explodes and they all get blasted by fusion radiation, which mutates them, giving them superpowers. And all of a sudden, like Vin Diesel's like flying around and like shooting energy blasts. Yo, I would love. Okay. Maybe too soon. Maybe the next one should be they get like mech. Oh, we were talking about this. Mech suits like Gundam. They're like, this car can turn into a giant robot. And then all the cars come together and then they're like Megazords. I kind of think superpowers would be better. Anyway, I digress. We'll get into that later. I want to see it. I don't care about this. I don't care if Idris Elba is a superpowered super soldier in the Fast and the Furious movies. I don't care if Ariel is a black character. I do care about the double standard. Let Halle Bailey play Ariel. Fine by me. But let her have normal hair. Like her hair. Trying to make her look like the Ariel character. What are you going to do next? Bleach her skin? Dye her? Put contacts in? So stupid. Whatever, man. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.